We're going to go ahead and get started. Good evening. The Hamilton Area Chamber of Commerce would like to welcome everyone out to this special event this evening, Partnering for Progress. At this time, we would like to call one of our chamber board members, Mr. Samuel Bentley, to come forward and give our invocation.
You have a loud voice, I guess, since you called me forward. Y'all, let's pray with me. Father, we thank you for this glorious night. We thank you that you have cut covenant with us and that we can gather together in one accord and just hear the strategies of heaven. James 1 says that if any man lack wisdom, that he can ask of you liberally. And tonight, Holy Spirit, we ask for wisdom. We ask for wisdom from above. And Jesus, we honor your word tonight, and we pray that this night goes according to your kingdom principles. We ask, as you told us to pray, thy kingdom come and thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. We ask, Lord, that in this room tonight that your kingdom would come and that your will would be done. Lord, we pray that our conversations would be ordered in heaven and that you would speak to us in Jesus' name. Amen.
It's appropriate tonight that we are in a classroom setting. We would first of all like to thank Dean Susan Burrow and her staff at Bevill State here in Hamilton for the use of this wonderful facility. And tonight, indeed, we hope to educate everyone in this room. Tonight gives the community leaders of Hamilton the opportunity to learn about the current economic development structure, activities, and plans, and how we can come together in order to help our community grow. At this time, I would like to introduce to you our speaker for the evening, Mr. David Thornell, who is the president of C3 Northwest Alabama Economic Development Alliance.
Thank you, Marlon. Did that work? I don't hear it. Do you? See, that's on, and okay. I think it'd be better. I can deal with the volume a little better. Can you hear me in the back okay? All right. A big reverb like you had from this microphone. Well, I wanted to move around a little bit, and I won't keep you so long because it's comfortable chairs and a place that I'm standing between you and some food. But I'm proud to be here. I appreciate the chamber inviting me to talk to you about C3. Been around almost 2 years. We're in the big city of UN. We're in an office that was the city hall, was not being used as city hall, so we were able to promise them that we would make some improvements, take care of it. And couldn't we move in? And they said sure. And so that's where we are, and we're available to you. I've never turned down an opportunity to speak to groups about what we do, even though much of what we do is behind the scenes, and it's just that by the nature of the work that's required. You know, decisions that are made over time, and it's a process of learning a lot of things that companies would require, and yet they don't want people outside to learn things about what they're looking for. So we do have a lot that takes place that we can't brag about yet. And that's always going to be the case, but the main thing is to be able to move forward in ways that are moving toward job creation. And very appropriate that we started with the prayer, the first P. They say that hard times you pray, and good times you better pray too. You better thank the Lord for good times. And so appreciate, let's start with prayer, but I'm going to go into the second one, which is perspective, and talking about this environment that we're in and how C3 interacts with all of you as economic development on contract with the city and the county. We appreciate our members and leaders in the community that really control the resources that allow us to get things done, that allow us to exist, and of course to get things done that we need to do. So we're going to talk about that just a few minutes, and then hopefully it'll enlighten you a little bit, but I do want to go back to the point I'm trying to make, that we are available. We're in UN. If you see the black Tahoe, I'm there. But my cards that are outside, I have some here. My cell number is the only phone that I use, and I have it with me all the time. You can text or email or call, and I'm available to you. And I want to be, because it's a team effort. We'll talk about that also. But following along, these are not good times. We have no problem in get some headlines for you to have this perspective that things are just not good already. There's really funny. I had one of the, well, in this course, this is because of our rates are down at about a 1.5 less than they were last year this time as far as unemployment rates, but unemployment rates do increase normally in June. So that's that latest from the Tuscaloosa News of the rate rising. But there's a point here in this one about the campaigns that I wanted to share. It says the bright spot, employers added 163,000 jobs in July, more than double that of June. Yet the unemployment rate rose to 8.3. There's a headline that recently in the the Journal Record talking about, I think that sales taxes were down, but yet they were so much higher than last year. So it really isn't, it's in terms of your perspective is what's important. Of course, it's a level playing field too. If there's hard times here, the economy's bad nationally, and problems globally, it's the same here as it is elsewhere, and we compete on a level playing field. Here's a spec building that you should really be proud of. A great spec building, and this is wonderful to have a interstate that's operable. We wish that they'd take the future off the signs. We've got the emblem what it look like when we get to that point. But the spec building here, 50,000 square feet on 10 acres, and plenty of other property to expand. I remember when I spoke to the city council at the end of last year, we talked about the fact, well, now why doesn't that attract a Toyota supplier? I think someday that it might. Bad copy, but if you look in Tupelo, just down the road from the Toyota plant, this one is 75,000 square feet on 27 acres. So it's competitive out there, and always will be. But I was in a meeting, and Keith Jones is not here, I don't think, but Keith and I were both in a meeting earlier this week, and we had some great speakers that talked about perspective and attitude, and our own Greg Canfield, who's the newly appointed Secretary of the Department of Commerce for the state, had this to say. He said, just turn the negative stuff off. Don't place much stock in those stories, because you look at history, all of these reports from economists or historical perspectives, and we're taking what the here and now, the opportunities that we have, and moving forward from today, not so much worried about what has happened and what will happen, based on good efforts that we can just put into place today. And the great slogan the city of Huntsville has is, the future belongs to those who shape it. That's the Huntsville Chamber slogan, has been for years. And of course they, I guess the other slogan that they had was pretty good too, about there was no, I forgot my Huntsville slogan. When you send, I'll look at that and have to get back to you. Talking about the rockets. We also had Mike Mullis that was at this meeting. Mike's one of the top-rated consultants in the country, even though he's just up the road from us in Memphis, and he talked about whoever's elected president the next 4 years, what it is. And so we have to know that we're going to be able to take what we have and make the best of it. And we work in good times and bad, don't we? We all do. Whether you're in business or whether you're in economic development, to make the best of those things. And then the last one was from the top guy, really the same as our Economic Development Partnership of Alabama, Bill Taylor. This guy is the president and CEO of Virginia's private economic development partnership, and talking about the communities shouldn't see themselves as being distressed. They should only look at themselves as emerging. And by emerging, they know that they're picking themselves up and they're moving forward. forward and making more positive things happen. You've got a lot to offer in Hamilton. You've got a great industrial park on the interstate that we saw a while ago. This is previous to the spec building. And I just showed you this because of the infrastructure. We've got new aerial photos that show the spec building, as you saw earlier. But great location. A lot has been done to be able to set that up as a place that can succeed. This is the Bedford Industrial Park, and Sitel, the largest employer in town, hiring another 100 people. We were with them last week and talking about the fact that they are gearing up for some business that's going to be coming just for the holiday season. Other large employer, NTN Bauer, that's hiring people, is doing better, is doing some things in their facility. Once you get plants of this size, they're always going to be spending money, which is what you want them to do to make sure that they're at the front line sort of technology and sort of cutting edge of the things that they're doing. But of course, we're sitting here at Bevill, a large employer, which is a real plus. And I have another slide that we've got. We're going to go through this quickly, but it shows the airport runway, which I think is a plus we're talking about. Once you put all these on the EDPA side and you begin to advertise, which is what we do, is market the community, you see that there's quite a few competitors even within Marion County, both in terms of buildings and in sites. If you were to add the whole 3 counties, you're going to see a whole lot more. We're going to have to go much further down than this. But the fact is, this is a narrowing down process. Companies look at a country, a region of that country, the states, and then they'll get into parts of that state and communities. We call ourselves Northwest Alabama because folks up in the Shoals have never claimed it. They call themselves the Shoals. A lot of people outside this part of the world don't know about the Shoals. They don't know where that is. They know where Northwest Alabama is. It gives them a perspective. Maybe that's a place that we could operate and do well. And because we do add all of those buildings, all of those sites together, the workforce of reaching from the 4 corners of our 3 counties, a huge workforce, a huge population, and we get into the game at a higher level in that funnel. You know, there's only one winner that's going to fall out at the bottom, but when you're promoting 3 counties and you have one point of contact to promote 3 counties, you're going to have a better chance to get in the game and then stay in the game. And maybe there are 3 sites, one in each county, that we just had a project like that met the minimum requirements for a project. And so we're able to have one in each county. We're able to get in the game with 3 chances to win. But we want to work smart, and we want to look at our workforce, which is more important than anything else. Workforce is just simply the people that are going to go in and turn that machinery on, turn the lights on, and get the job done, and get it done to a quality level that people know that they can sell that product and make a profit. And so we looked at the workforce. We worked through the folks at the power company that had some sophisticated software, and AIDT. We worked with Economic Development Partnership of Alabama. And so we came up with 4 targets. This doesn't mean that there are other companies and types that we would look for. We're working on several different types of companies now. But these were growing industries that we felt that we had the workforce to fit. And so we've got targets that then we begin to promote ourselves as an ideal location for those targets. This was in a magazine that was strictly promoting areas that were ready and able and capable of being a good spot for automotive. We'll be going to a trade show in October. That's the Southern Automotive Conference. It's in Chattanooga. We'll have a booth at that show, and we'll be meeting people that are just in the automotive business, and we're saying, hey, come to Northwest Alabama, take a look. We do have 2 million square feet of space. We've got 1,500 or more acres of developed property. We've got a new interstate. We've got a lot going for us, and especially when you look at what we've got going on around us in terms of automotive. But we are an excellent location for that, and I think we'll see some success from that, so we're going to continue to target. We also advertise online. We have a lot of people that look at this community and never set foot in this community. They look online. They look at websites to find out more about this place. This is Southern Business and Development magazine. their news, and it's sort of the place that people do go to find out more about the South and what's going on in the 17-state region of what's called the Southern Economic Development Council's territory. And we do advertise on this. Of course, as I said, the competition and other people that are advertising, but they can click on that link and come to our website that we'll show here in a second. We promote locally. We want to be that one-stop point of contact that makes it easy for people to find more about our communities. And so we're proud that the City and ID Board recently got this sign up just to the rear of the spec building, but also promotes the industrial park. You've got an excellent looking sign out at the industrial park. Spec building in Hamilton, you have one in Fayette. This is the sign there, and then even in Marion County, a little different style, but their new industrial park. Each of those places, these three, are advantage sites. You'll see that logo there for advantage site, which means that those are shovel-ready sites. That was talked a lot about in the process of the stimulus package. If you remember, some of the projects that people were going to go to work right away were shovel-ready. And it was used in a negative sense. We learned a lot of things that were shovel-ready. But these sites are ready. They are already the environmental studies, the soil borings, all the engineering requirements, utilities are there, that sort of thing makes them a great place to do business and puts that company at ease then when they're looking for a place that they can go and get moving on their project. We could have come up with 20, 30 of these, but we do promote that there are reasons to be here. And there's a lot that you can promote when you put three counties together because you've got more product to put on your store shelves. It's a matter of these companies that are looking, if they come into our area, we think that we can probably find exactly what they're looking for. And they don't see those boundaries between the cities or the counties. They're looking for what they need and what best fits their needs. And so they're in the process of us, or just the availability of all of the things that you look at once you come into the three-county area. It makes for a pretty long list of things that are pluses. One of our targets that you saw was distribution. We're an excellent location for distribution with this new interstate here, and so we're promoting and working with distribution companies that would find some interest. Here's our website. The website, as I said, it's that, well, it's just hard to measure how many people might make a decision just in terms of the website. We just had a project that came in, and I'll show you later some of the questions that are asked in terms of incentives. But the company had already, well, they had gotten to that point. That's just what they want to know. What are you going to do for us if we choose, say, the spec building in Hamilton? Because they're able to go on to here and get a PDF with photos of the buildings and the layout and the specifics about the buildings. They already know where we are. They already know our workforce. There's a lot of statistics on this site. And this site just won a superior award at the Southern Economic Development Council meeting. They're going to send a press release to Tracy and Ed about that superior award for this website. We also use social media. We want people to follow us on Twitter and Facebook and all those things that people do these days. It's pretty common that they would, in terms of economic development, refer to social media to identify what's the strengths of a place would be. I'll talk about those incentives. If it were only this easy that this guy wants to build this grist mill and said, well, we'll promise, not to burn you down should you build somewhere else, and he's asking where do I sign. So there's always that negotiation that goes on about what are you going to do for me. And these people do walk up with their plans and their ideas in mind of what should be offered. We'll go through these pretty fast. There's a lot to read, but this is from a consultant that most of the larger projects that we have are assigned to consultants. Companies, in order to streamline just a few years ago, it's really true that they don't open new facilities that often. Even the larger companies, it's a big deal when they open something, a large project such as the Airbus. That was their first in this country. But you can bet that they have they hire consultants to do that, because consultants just go through this process of gathering up locations and details and then all of the things that could be offered. So they begin to say just discretionary. What can you do for us in terms of grants and discretionary incentives outside of those statutory incentives that are the laws, tax breaks, and that sort of thing that are pretty common. They ask about the building and what you can do for us in leasing a building. And you might have to pay for that right away. They, of course, want grants to modify in the building infrastructure, bond financing. Want you to guarantee the lease on some equipment things that they're looking to do. They want to have cash grants. You used to not see this that often, just asking for cash. Most of the time, and you will see these huge numbers on projects, but it'll be for infrastructure money. It's not for the things that are just saying write a check to a company. But they're bold enough to ask for it, and you still are expected to be competitive to help them with that. They don't want to pay any fees or charges. They want, this one didn't want to be in a foreign trade zone, which will save them some taxes on their, when they bring in products from another country and then they're exporting out of the country. And you can't just set them up with some office space, so make sure that they're not going to have to pay that rent when they get here. Now, the thing about this, and what I've always had an issue with, but it's pretty easy to understand, the larger the company, the more things that they're going to expect and the more things that they're going to get. Small companies don't often, they wouldn't have a consultant to ask for all this stuff, so they don't know what's available. They're learning, though. They read enough the newspaper articles to say, now what can you give us to make this happen? And so often they've not even thought about in terms of their budget and what they're going to spend. But it's just a matter of leveraging. You have a large company, they're going to offer a lot of jobs, they're going to offer a lot of capital investment to make that project happen. And it's a matter then that you bring a lot, you get a lot in return, because it means more to the community or to the state. And there are discretionary funds from the state, and we'll talk just this week about a project here in Hamilton about the fact that this area was significantly affected by the tornadoes, so the governor has some discretionary monies for storm recovery, even though we're past a year from the time that happened. But the next thing was the partners. This whole thing tied to Partnering for Progress. A lot of people are involved. It's certainly not just C3. It's our members I mentioned earlier that have the resources to make things happen because they're asking for a whole lot. I just showed you that. We don't have any of those things. We can't give money and tax breaks and land and buildings and that sort of thing. So it's so important that you do, as community leaders, what you can to be ready when people do come calling and they do ask for these things to take place. We coordinate those things. We hope that we stimulate those things in marketing that you've seen that we do, and trying to bring people to the table. But once they get to the table, it is local leadership that's going to be really putting the deal together to make that happen. And so it's a team effort. And these are just a few that I've thought about that would be involved, and they're always involved. And it's a matter of knowing the people, knowing the process, and being available short notice with the phone, with the availability that's just 24/7 sometimes, and trying to coordinate all of these people and projects that do overlap with other projects. So a lot of people that take part, and we'll talk about what you can do in the next few minutes. First thing, many of you already done, run for office. I think that's one of the bravest things you can do, and it's one of the most important things you can do for those who win, but most do not win. So the day that the election rolls around, there's more losers than winners. You're really not a loser. We talked about how communities are never distressed, they're emerging. So you pick yourself up and you become a community leader and you build on that. And in most cases you already are. I would think that you all are. The only thing that separates a community leader and one that's maybe not is just that community leader stepped forward and said, here I am, send me in. I can make it happen. I'm concerned. I care. I want to be a plus for this community and a difference maker. So just step up and just do it, as Nike said. And that's the thing that all people can do, regardless of whether they are elected to office. And then think about, regardless, elected or not, who do you know? People that have the influence in a company. They may not be a company CEO or the leader of that company. But I've often said in my Civic Club speeches that you should sort of take a mental inventory of your neighbors and your friends, your old classmates, your family members, when you get together as a family and talk about, well, what are you doing at that business? And I think my family probably doesn't know what I do, but I know, what they do, because I'd say, you need to come look at our area. So that's happened quite a bit since I've been here for the 2 years, is that many of our projects we self-generate. We're not just waiting for somebody to come in and bring us something, but we've gone out through the invitation of somebody that could open the door, that knew somebody somewhere, some company, that could make something positive happen. So put your network to work. And then the next thing is pretty basic, and chambers always support this, and it's a very easy way that you can grow your community, is to spend your money in your community and do that whenever possible. And even if it's tough for us to decide what products are made locally in this area, let's think about up the road at Tiffin. If you're going to buy a motorhome, you need to look at their motorhomes. The rest of them are made in Indiana. I've been trying to get more of those to come down here, but they're pretty much entrenched in Indiana. But look at the Tiffin motorhomes. Those things that require us to go out of town, we're getting ready to look at a study. We've applied for a grant. This is one component of it, is to look at retail sales leakage. This is things that you go out of town to spend your money on. And it's just right now by necessity. But is it really a long-term necessity? Is it not something that you can do on your own, or that you can gather up your friends and others that you know that have that experience and interest and support them to make something happen? So many times you'll see a national name, but it's a franchise. It's owned by local investors. And that happens a whole lot with restaurants, but also hotels. We work in one of our communities with a hotel. It's just a matter of who's interested in that and thinks it'll work. If it's a good business case for it, then let's make that happen. Let's not just expect somebody else to come in and believe in our community well enough to make that happen. And the last thing is just to be positive. The fact that you can be positive about this area is contagious, and it is something that people are listening every day, and people are judging us by our attitude. And it happens with those that pass through, and it happens with those that are, just elsewhere and mention this place. The real shame that I see about this area is that people don't know that much about it. So we're trying to change that fact that we're inviting people to come and take a look, but there's nothing negative that I've ever found about this place that people say, well, you don't want to go there, or that's that place where, and it's a negative. They really have a hard time, though, filling it in with a positive. They'll say, well, now, what towns are those? And I'll say, well, that's Hamilton and Winfield to you. And I think I was through there one time. So they bought gas and they moved on. That's something as far as plans, we want to change their opportunities to stay a little longer. Another thing we need to realize is that this is a long-term process, and it's going to take some patience, especially in hard times, but also some creativity, some investment by locals to do the things that you've seen here, the persistence that it takes, and that you just wake up every day to sell. You're ready to make something good happen in the community, and the fact that one of the consultants that we heard at the meeting that I was in earlier this week talked about that you're really not selling when a prospect visits. They already know through online study and through their talk with those allies that we have, whether it's the power company, the Department of Commerce, and others. They know you'll fit. They know that you've got potential to work as far as the location for them. So what you're wanting to just perform and prove that this is the place. They come in with a good attitude and say, well, this is worth looking at. And we're going to try to just prove to them that they made a great decision in coming here. And I might have mentioned this earlier, that everybody else wants what we want. So we know that it's competitive and that there's only one winner, but everything does happen for a reason. I was going to mention just the fact that last week they expanded Amtex in Jasper. Amtex is a company that forms the, when you open the trunk and you don't see all the metal, you see those panels that fill the trunk. When you look at the headliner or the floor mats, there's a backing on those. There's an Amtex has another. That was the second Toyota supplier that went to Jasper. But the fact is, Jasper already had two Japanese companies. Jasper's also closer to Birmingham. Jasper has both the so they've got the sort of and NTN here also is a Japanese company, but they had that company sitting down beside their spec building. When they met with them, they were able to sell the folks on the communities, the way that they were being welcomed and comfortable in the community. But Amtex wanted their Japanese officials, the management team, had plans to live in Birmingham. They also had plans to serve Toyota and serve not just Toyota, but Honda and VW and Hyundai down in South Montgomery County. And so they went to a place that was a good fit for them. It was prior to my time. I don't know what happened along the way. The building here was maybe just completed, as far as I know. But the folks there were able to track Amtex, but Amtex is really an unusual case because you would not have read about other Toyota suppliers. We had a group that went to Georgetown, Kentucky right after C3 was formed and talked to the folks there to say, we want those suppliers. They were, at that time, of course, going to the Toyota Blue Springs area and trying to fill in the gate that they had built around, the fencing they had built around to say, here's the folks that need to be close and we need them now. But there weren't many that they needed now. But there was an Amtex that could supply others and kind of did. It's a future opportunity for us and hopefully near future, and we are going to be hiring a consultant to help us with that worked with the state of Mississippi. He's passed that first wave. We're getting ready for the next wave of those suppliers. So here are the things that we're doing, and it's just a few things that just came to mind. You can see outside of a board that we show these recruitment, retention, renewal committees of our strategic plan. Strategic plan has been great to involve private individuals. We're so closely aligned and work daily with elected officials, mayors especially. But we have a lot of good help on the private side with these subcommittees on recruitment, retention, and renewal, and you can see what they mean outside. But we have a very active existing industry program. As I told you, we met with Cytel last week. We met with NTN last week. Both of them hired. Not enough people know about those things, so we're going to put on our website in the coming year a link to a jobs site to just say, here are local companies that are hiring and they may need you. You got active chambers here, especially in Hamilton. We want all these chambers to work together and talk about ways that they can improve and use best practices. We're going to form and have a regional council. We'll meet a week from tomorrow. We're going to continue to work with the educational folks in the community. We're meeting with those folks in the fall. These are all just came out of the strategic plan, things that we should be doing and that we will be doing. We thought about a capital day. We last fall invited these folks that were in economic development out beating the bushes for us, such as those Department of Commerce, to come to our area and see the area. And we did. We had a pretty good turnout. We had folks from the power company and the Department of Commerce, and so we get them on the van and we show them our sites and our buildings, and that's always best when you can have people that are on your soil. But we're thinking this year, because it's so tough to get the kind of a group that we like to get together, and both involve the local folks too. Excuse me. We'll just take our show on the road that maybe we should go to Montgomery and have a capital day with a reception and a dinner with the people that do help us to say thank you. We're working with entrepreneurs. 2 of the 3 sources of jobs creation are already here. They're not going to have to come in from outside. So the folks that own businesses, and those businesses, when they expand, are going to be 70 to 80% of the new jobs. The other source is going to be people that start new businesses. And those people are, like I said, you see something that you're spending money on out of town, they're going to start a business to meet a market that they see and identify as being already here, and they believe in the community and they make that investment. So we're working with them through our Entrepreneur Research Center at the office, and we encourage that and hope that you'll encourage others to start businesses. Mention some of these other things. We're also going to have a consultant come in and look at our sites and buildings to give us an idea on how they match up with our target industries, and those 4 target industries also just to sort of give us your impression. What do you like about our sites? What do you not like about them? What needs to be changed to make this the best site for automotive, the best site for warehousing, that sort of thing. So we've sent out an RFP. We'll have the request for a proposal. We'll have the responses back at the end of this month. And we do have a newsletter. This was the first one. It was sent out just about a month ago. We're ready to send out another one. If you'll send us your email or contact us, and my email is on this card, we'll be happy to send you this. It's really, Renee's being humble. There's a lot to this beyond just what you see on this page as far as stories about what's going on in here. One thing that we need to do, though, about economic development, we talk a lot about industrial development, but I've always said it's just whatever makes a cash register ring. What allows people both to not only come into the community, but to leave their money here and to support their businesses, businesses that are here through their purchases. And so there's a whole lot that matters in terms of economic development that I don't think gets enough attention. The downtown revitalization is so important because people's perceptions are their reality, aren't they? What people think about this place. So sure, show them something that looks really good, that gives them a good feeling about that you care about the community, and they're going to go out and tell people about that, of what they saw and how they felt about their visit here. I think the airport is a great asset for this community. We'll have on Monday the new dean of the aviation and workforce at the aviation center down in Enterprise, South Alabama. Been a lot of success in aviation in South Alabama. Airbus is just the latest, but a lot that's happening around Ozark, and this is a person that can look our airport over. He's going to look at the Speed Rack building, visit with Dean Burrow. We're going to talk about aviation for our areas plus, and this airport's really the hub of what can make those good things happen. Jerry Brown is an asset for this community, as you all know. There may be others. There may be things that people could, we could tie to either people or specific places or things that happen in this community that don't just happen everywhere else. The ramp is a great example of that. It's special. It's a place that's already a built-in economic engine. It's making this place, really a lot more going on here than you would imagine. And as people discover the ramp, they come here and they spend money and they do those good things. When I first interviewed for this job, I stayed at the Key West Inn, and it was full. It was full because of the ramp. I was lucky to get a room. So it means a lot to use those things that are already here. Use the names that are here, use the places that are here. Look good and do good. Talked a lot about a multi-purpose arena or civic center. That's something that NACOG is working on now, and having finally get the study done and move forward with that, and appreciate the Commission's support of that, and applying for a grant just this week to see if we can work on taking that next step with the Civic Center. This is a place that's great to just come and spend some time. Because of the fact that we've got such beautiful natural areas, and so I think that this is a good place for corporate retreats or hunting camps and lodges. We're seeing a little bit of this in the area already, but I think there's a great possibility for that to be expanded upon. Business planning retreats, just get away somewhere. This is a place that people can easily drive away from Birmingham and feel like they finally got their themselves away from the madness that they left behind, and to do some business planning and to have some corporate retreats and church camps and that sort of thing. And this river is such a plus. I was just through Augusta, Georgia, right on a state line, from Georgia to South Carolina, and they got the river right at the border as we do with the Hatchie River here. And there's a lot going on using that river. I was born in Wetumpka, Alabama. I always see people kayaking, canoeing on the river down that way. Bringing people in, spending time, spending money. And so it's just a very natural area that I think would be a plus for us to look at. Golf has been a big thing for this state and bringing in a new image and reputation. We've got a beautiful golf course out here. The setting of that golf course, the facilities aren't where they should be, and it's tough, I know, to afford to do that. Some of these other folks got the advantage and opportunity to have Dr. Bronner's money come in and make great things in terms of golf course. But what can we do to be a place that people would come and play golf and take advantage of rolling hills that we have? I was so pleased when I came here. I wasn't so familiar with the fact that you had a lot of rolling hills to this area that just make it so much more attractive than folks might imagine that didn't know that possibility. Camping, definitely need more camping opportunities for people. Growing the hotel rooms in the county, we need some places that people would like to camp. And more as you see people that are going through this process of the baby boomers retiring and buying those Tiffin motorhomes, give them a place to camp. Our new administrator at the Winfield Hospital, living in a motorhome until he and his wife are going to be buying a house very soon, but he's got that motorhome parked in Twin, out near the park in Twin. He's there with, I think, some workforce, workers that are there, and then some manufactured homes that are already there permanently. There's just a lot of ways that we can grow this economy, and there's nothing new. It's a matter of looking around and bringing ideas back. As you travel, just think about what's worked for areas. Probably the whole thing about the golf is I thought, well, you know, Augusta's got a lot in common with Hamilton, but they got a heck of a golf course. And Augusta's doing well. But how do we adapt what others have that we like, bringing it here, and not having to reinvent the wheel, taking the best of what they've done and also avoiding the worst of what they've learned through what they've done in their community. But let's load up a bus and go see some of these places and talk to them. There's no problem anytime to call somebody up and say, we love what you've been doing with your community. Just fill in the blank and say, we want to look at that, and you can bet they're going to roll out the red carpet for us. So what can we do in terms of looking elsewhere for some of these new ideas? We have a lot going for us in this area, and we will succeed. We're going to surprise folks with the success that we have. There are things that I'm working on right now that we have just seen an uptick lately. It has been slower in terms of approaching this election because everybody's sort of distracted and looking in that direction of, well, let's just wait it out and see. But as I've told often, there's not many people that have come here that have decided not to make a decision to locate. It's just that they've not made a decision to do anything anywhere. Some more projects that we have that we're in the running for, the more chances that we're going to have that we're going to be successful. When that happens, it takes everybody doing all that they can do and being a good ambassador for the community and be an involved and active ambassador, whether you're in an elected office or not. There's chambers of commerce that would love to have your energy, your time, and your interest. There's civic clubs, there's church groups, and then you may just be able to choose something that you can start your own team to make something good happen in this community. There's Keith. Keith, have you been here the whole time? Keith and I work pretty closely together. But it takes us all. It takes us all doing our part, and we're going to have, when we get to the point of election being behind us, that we'll have a newly elected officials gathering and congratulate those folks and move forward. Talk about incentive policy, because people do ask for more than they would expect and more than they need. But then they make us guess, what does it take? You don't want to walk away, but you don't want to put too much on the table. So we're going to talk about some incentive policy, and we're going to talk about who does what when a prospect comes to town. You want people that can contribute in ways that they're going to have takeaways, I guess, the prospects themselves, and know that it was valuable what that person had to say and what they could do. So there's a lot more sophistication. This has never been a complicated job, but it is so competitive that's what makes it tough, and knowing that other communities are doing the same things. It's very often those that win, really every time. The things that you have and prepared are important to get you in the game, but they don't mean that you win the game. Those things that may be a site or a spec building, it does, and even the interstate. You know, other people have interstates. I used to work in Starkville, and they had the 5th best agricultural research in the nation. Which they were proud to be 5th best, but I thought about it, there's an agricultural research related company, would we come in 5th place? There are 4 other places that would do better as far as being that being a factor of bringing in. So there are other things that come into play, and it's going to be those things that you have that others don't that make the difference. Anything before you go into choice of good?
I want to make a comment about the articles in the paper yesterday. I thought that it was very informative, what you had to say there. In particular, the incentives that you were already gathering people together to work out incentives that we might be willing and able to do in the future. I thought that was a very encouraging thing to know that that's already set in place, and the fact that you're having committees come together of experts that will know how to meet and greet people when they come here. I thought the whole thing was very encouraging. And articles like that in the paper are really, really good because they help everybody understand what C3 is about to me. And you spoke of target industries. Other than auto, are there other target industries that you're looking at?
Well, the distribution is there, of course, and then just trucking, transportation in any way that you would look at use of our highway network. And then we also, of course, have rail in our communities, and we're close to airports that have commercial service, even international service. The Birmingham Airport is so close these days, and they're undergoing a major expansion, so that's a plus for us. When I worked in Opelika, we'd also say you needed, come to Opelika and use our international airport. It's up the road in Atlanta. So we are able to reach out and claim these things that are pluses as our own. And so yeah, we're good in terms of distribution, and then the other was metalworking. A lot of skills related to that in this area, so that's a good plus for us in attracting companies. And then the other one is just other types of vehicles, vehicle bodies, trailers, transports for us of cargo trailers, and other types of vehicles outside of automotive. A good example of that is the Navistar project up in the Shoals, where they're going to be building these huge garbage trucks. When we talk about automotive, we don't often think about going out and just recruit a garbage truck making company. But there are a lot of other vehicles that are made, and it matches well with this workforce and what we do.
You spoke also of going to Chattanooga to the Southern Automotive Conference. Is that coming up soon? And when it does come up, would we be looking forward to an article in the paper to tell us what went on there?
Well, sure, we can do that, and we have some good help in terms of that. People that are working in the automotive companies in the state that we've tried to reach out and have their support. On one of the committees with the Alabama Automotive Manufacturers Association now, on the membership committee, but then this is the Tennessee and the Georgia group and Mississippi group that are meeting together. That's in October.
David, can you tell us a little bit about the process? Do people usually come to us or we go to them? Do people usually contact the State Economic Development Partnership and then they contact you? Just a little bit about your job.
You just
and role.
can't depend on that being your bread and butter, that other people will that the state would call us. But we love it when they do, and it does happen, and that's their job to support local economic developers. All economic development is local. You know, we have that final spot that's selected. So the state is really just going to places that meet what these folks are calling them about, saying, I need X or Y. So we do work with the state, with the power company. They both have staffs of economic development folks, and they travel the world. They have much higher, larger budget for that than we do. But then it's not too hard these days with the internet and with the computer and the access to news to get leads on companies that are looking and are doing well. And then the other way that we've been proactive is using people who know people. And that often happens through our existing industries as we go out and visit them to talk about what do you need here that you're having to bring in, and maybe could be that lure for a company to come and do something close. So it's relationships with people that are already here in the community, especially existing businesses. We're always going to support them with sort of a prime interest and ability to get with them and talk about how they're doing. They're on the front lines already every day to make things happen in terms of their own business. When they are able to sell our area for us, carries a lot more clout. I'm paid to say good things about the area. They're not. Often you'll have companies that come in and they want to talk to the existing industries, and those are private meetings, so they need to be feeling pretty good about this place, and we are going to have to just set out in the lobby. So we try to make sure that they know that it is a supportive environment for them. And so they're a good source of leads, they're a good sales force for us, and then they're always going to be the most jobs. And in a year's time or 10 years' time is going to come from people that are already here, those existing companies.
Can I say something? I had an opportunity to attend the same meeting David was at, and your answer to Wade was McCollum Sweeney. Was that correct?
Yeah.
The big major site selection. They're the big boys. They did Navistar, and one of the comments that really got my attention was, when I come to your community, I know more than you know about your community. And the reason I'm at your community is, one, to validate what my research says about your community, or two, to eliminate you from the search. And the third thing that he said that really got my attention is, when I come to your community, that's not the time to sell your community. You will have time to sell your community later on when the deal is cut. I'm there, and I may have 10 locations to look at. He talked about Navistar. He said, we work 7 days a week. I had a budget, I had a requirement to look at these parameters, and you had to meet those parameters. I didn't care who you beat in football in 1942. I wanted to know about water, I wanted to know about sewer, I wanted to know about your infrastructure, I wanted to know about your workforce. He also talked about the relationships now, since time is money, a single point of contact. That you have to establish relationships between the site selection consultants and your single point of contact. Then you bring your team effort and approach. And that really amazed me how competitive this is. You're really competing on a worldwide. There's a project looking up in the Shoals area, and the competition there, I've been told, is Mexico. You know, but it takes everything. And the other thing is to consider is what David mentioned, an incentive fund. Money is getting tighter and tighter on the state level and on the federal level. So in all projects, as they've said, are won at the local level. It's your community. What do you want? And everybody is in economic development from as far as the person in the convenience store giving directions, projects being lost. Hamilton lost a project several years ago that a company was going to come here. The wife of the owner, there wasn't a church of her affiliation. She was going to have to drive to Russell or somewhere. Just little simple things. So everybody's an economic developer, and you never know who stops and asks directions. And your attitude and how you present your community is so important.
It is. It's not only you get excited about companies coming to visit, but it is the first visit is always an elimination visit. It's not a selection visit. It's a matter of making life easier for them, is for them to narrow down that list of places that they might want to go to. And so they're just looking for ways for you to cancel yourself out. That visit is very important, but you're not really to the point then of being selected. You're just, can you stay into the next round? So, it's very important, even the, when we go into a restaurant to eat, how they proceed, and the group is friendly to the service, and all of these things. Just, I had a good experience here, or maybe I didn't. And, of course, they've already evaluated all those cost factors, but they will get to the point then that they're going to see if you can't buy down their cost in terms of incentives. And now they're doing it before they even would visit through these questionnaires. Yeah.
I want to follow up on what Keith said. You don't sell a community to just that person. You're selling it to his wife and his family. And I've been there and I know that. I've seen it. I'm like Keith, I've seen it shoot us down simply because the wife didn't like it. Or maybe one of the kids didn't want to move here. There wasn't what they were involved in to do here.
The Japanese, I said, the Amtex wanted to live in Birmingham. Jasper's more convenient. And it does come down to those very minor things that to the point of that you don't know, but until you get to the very end, somebody that makes that decision has a feeling because. And that comes down to some things that are very minor, you would think overall, but they're those that push one ahead of the other.
Well, you may all be working on this. We have an industry setting here in our backyard. Negro Motorhomes works 700 to 1,000 people. #1 motorhome company in the United States. They pay an average of $15 an hour. I would like to see us pursue that because we're sitting here, half of their people are from Marion County. There's dozens of people. Anybody that's ever worked in a mobile home plant, Barry, you'll go along with this, to build motorhomes.
Yeah, these motorhomes
industry, those people are making great money. And it's a recession-proof industry. People buying $300,000 motorhomes, they don't care if they fill $7 a gallon.
Those motorhomes are just like our manufactured homes with engines in them, and they're high-end. They require skilled craftsmen to do that, which means that you got to pay those folks more. We went to a show in February that it was the RV dealer show. I was able to get him to tell him I was with a media or something. I told him I assisted those companies to find locations. Anyway, they fell for it. I was probably the only one that's there, not a dealer or a manufacturer. But talked to Mr. Tiffin about that, and they, the thing about it, I mentioned Indiana's where most of these companies are, and I was saying we've got 2 million square feet of space in our area, and they'd say, well, we've got that much in our county where most of those companies were. So the economy for them was down, but it's picking back up. Those folks that are retiring had in mind that they're going to get them a nice motorhome. They've already planned for that.
The interest is there. We had them in town twice, and if they hadn't been a mobile home plant come open in Belmont, we would have gone to a paint shop here with about 100 people, and that would have been a shot in arm.
Yeah, I think it's a great prospect for us. Anything else? You hear what
David, I was going to say, one of the things that I came away from South Carolina was the workforce, with the discussion about the workforce. There were some questions asked about labor cost and how your cost of labor and economic development in the industry looking, and that more and more that quality and the skill set of your workforce is very important. You're already seeing on the workforce council that several of us in the room belong to, is you have to have a multi-skilled maintenance employee now at more and more places. So that was I think I walked away from South Carolina hearing that your workforce training for the future of your county is very important. That it's going to be very competitive.
Means everything. You can have a building anywhere. The whole world's tied together with sites. Workforce is what's going to put you ahead. And it's going to be looked at, very closely. Every aspect, not just cost, but attitude, dependability, and trainability. Those things that are existing industries will tell these folks, and they'll tell them the truth. And we want to make sure that we've got a workforce that's going to put us at the top of the list.
When it comes to economic development, and it comes to the automobile industry, all right, I'm a former employee in state government for the state of Mississippi. I worked for a few years for the state of Mississippi state government. And this place called Toyota came to Mississippi. Did Marion County ever make a bid for any supplier plant for Toyota? Did they ever make a bid? If they did, whatever happened to that? Because, like I said, Mississippi won the thing with Toyota, with the Japanese. They won it. So did Marion County ever make a bid for a supplier plant for Toyota? And if they did, what happened there?
We're bidding every day in terms of marketing for automotive. The Amtex folks did come through, understand, stopped at several of the sites or buildings in Marion County. We talked about that a little bit. But the folks at Toyota had told us, and we talked to Dennis Cuneo, who spoke here at the campus, spoke within the last 10 days about when's the next wave coming, how do we need to position ourselves for that, and so he's referred us to someone else that helped the state of Mississippi in attracting those initial suppliers, tier ones that had to be very close to the plant, but it's an opportunity in the very near future, and we'll get our share. As I mentioned, in terms of economy, when the economy is bad, you don't maybe expect as much, but it's tough on everybody, so you got them to know that you just keep working and that you get your share. And so that's what we're doing every day, and we depend on all of the partners that I mentioned. And it's, as I said, I think the future's very bright here. I don't see any problems in terms of our competitiveness.
David, you can give advice to the leaders of this community about what should our focus be as a community to prepare for that development, because it does take one voice out trying to snag that project and to have that awareness. But in the meantime, what's the focus of the community building here? How can we be preparing so that when they come, not for that first look, because the first look's going to be you have the infrastructure in your building, but for that second look, how do we prepare for that second look so that we can put the best foot forward?
Well, and every project is going to be different, and another thing about the internet and visiting, especially with someone who's trying to learn exactly what it is, they're looking for those key things that are going to kind of push them towards you, push them over the edge in terms of selecting you. I don't see anything that's weak in Hamilton. There's a matter of, you can always improve. We're never want everything doing just like we want to, but the attitude makes a difference. The way that you look, that's an indication of attitude. You're doing things downtown, you mean a whole lot. You're having more interest in retail, and that's going to be a plus, because that just creates a little better atmosphere and living place that you can go to the types of retail stores and restaurants that you want to go to. So I don't know, I had a question. I was Marla got me to a radio station a few weeks ago, and it could have turned down in a hurry, but it was a matter of, first question, well, what's wrong and what's the problems and where are we weak? And I don't even think about those sort of things. I think about how do we improve on the things that we are not where we want to be, but we're going to sell it. off to the side working this week. Just keep that behind the scenes.
I'm going back to what Susan had to say. You're saying there's things that we could do for that second site visit, such as the downtown Hamilton revitalization, the cleanliness, the signs on the power poles, the small stuff also is what they're going to look at too when they start considering us as a whole. The picture of how we present ourselves. These bag signs that are posted around town on trucks and written on buildings and all this stuff, I think we need to try to do as much about that as we can.
Well, the livability of our communities, you know, if you're gonna take a
Right.
CEO to say, would you bring your family here?
We don't want to go around I-22 to get to the other side of town, you know, to show them the Beverly district. We need to go through town to let them see. We also need to have that appearance.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. In planning the best route for prospect to come to town, how many things you're able to pop in your head, that's where we want to go. How many things you have to avoid.
I think attitude is very important, because like you said, a lot of times they know more about us than we know about ourselves. They may be in here or send scouts in here, we don't even know they're here. But if they're at a restaurant and they hear somebody very negative about the mayor and the council and all this stuff, you know, they're gonna pick up on that. And so I think a positive attitude would help us a lot.
Read the headlines, they do listen and learn from us. We're teaching them about ourselves. The way we look, the way we talk, the way that we promote ourselves, all comes into play. Yep.
One of the things I'd answer her question is to have an available catalog of housing for the management that might live at this potential plant. That's always a question. They want to go home and show the wife that Hamilton and Marion County's got these type of houses, and then she's going to ask you, how many AP classes is the school offering? How many people can answer that? Is there dual enrollment programs available in your high school or your community college? You know, AP classes, what are the extracurricular from the theater? Those are questions that you ask. You know, that's what this group as a community can help you prepare, you know. Because when Ewan had that major project, they were looking several years ago, we assisted. One of the questions was available housing for the management, if they lived. And they were looking at houses anywhere from 200,000 to 300,000. And we helped them put together a packet from Jasper all the way to Russell. You know, there was parameters.
The Huntsville slogan, I didn't plan on this, I just remembered it. It's a good thing to end with. The sky is not the limit. Is it? There's no reason for it to be. And running for office is a big, big step, and I commend you for that. But it doesn't take being in office to be a positive difference in this community. And what we do together is what works. It's not hardly ever a single person. Somebody gets to get up and get a little mic time and an announcement, but there's a whole team of folks that you don't see or know about that contributed to that. And so make sure that you contribute and that you stay active. And you do that whether you have to give all that time and effort and a lot of headaches that go with elected office. But I commend you. I wish you luck and hope that we can together celebrate the better days ahead. And I thank the Chamber, Marla, for inviting me, and nothing else. Turn it back to you.
Let's give David a big round of applause. We appreciate his efforts, and we look forward to growing together, 3 County with C3, to bring jobs and growth and prosperity to our communities. We appreciate everyone coming tonight. We feel like it's been an informative evening for everyone, educational, as we talked about at the very beginning, an educational evening for everyone. Again, our thanks to Bevill State Borough for allowing us to use this beautiful facility. This time we would like to invite everyone to stay and have refreshments with us, and thank you again.
How about me eliminate that community?